early edition Normal America show. I'll explain why in a minute. But here I am, host robnoerr. You guys having a good day? I'm having a great day. A little sad. It's my son's last day off from school. I like hanging out with my son. We've been super busy. Family gatherings, whatever, for Easter weekend, and a lot of traveling. Friday, we went out to the movies, and we're out all day. So his big plan today was sit in our butt and do nothing. And it was wonderful. Though I did get a little pissy, as I'll explain to you in a minute. Me and the wife had a little argument today, and I'm sure she'll be pleased. She's probably watching right now. She'll be pleased to know. Now, I wouldn't tell her this, but she was right in this argument. But still, I will present my side of it, and we'll see what you think. But man, it's chilly here. But I don't know what it was. Today I woke up, it was just a smile on my face, good mood all day. I think I slept well for the first time in a while, so it's good. Any day you're above ground's a good day. I'm very excited. I'll miss my son back at school tomorrow, but that's okay. That's okay. I'm not muted, am I? You schmucks. This guy. Type some kanji characters, am I right? It says, yeah! That's about it. You got the American vibe. That's basically it. That's what we're going for here. Yeehaw. You know? Now, here's the argument we had. I've had quite a bit of wind here. And some things get blown about. So, like, my son's got one of those trampolines, a little one with the net. It keeps blowing into the neighbor's yard and stuff. I don't know what to do with the dang thing. Tried staking it down, didn't work. Wind carries it. So, my wife's stepdad drives by today and goes, hey, your little plastic swimming pool's on the road. Now, I saw this pool because I went and got some groceries earlier. Well, not really groceries. I had to go to the pharmacy and picked up a couple things. And I saw this pool. Now, this little, you know the ones I'm talking about, like the little plastic kiddie pool. It's not ours. We do not own a little plastic kiddie pool. So, as I'm coming back, like if this is the road, here's my house, right? So here I am, like 6 houses up. I see this kiddie pool on the other side of the road. Now it's cold out. And I was like, I don't know where to park. And I didn't feel like pulling into my driveway and then walking 2 blocks up to grab this kiddie pool. So I did the lazy man's thing. I said, not my pool, not my problem. In the house I came. Well, then my father-in-law drives by, calls my wife, says, your kiddie pool's across the road. And my wife was like, I know it's not ours, but you should go pick it up because you don't want to blow it on the road. And I was like, no, fuck all that. Why do I have to do it? I'm enjoying my nice warm house. I don't want to be out in the cold weather, grabbing a kiddie pool, dragging it across the road. And then where am I going to put it? Wherever I put it, the wind's still going to be blowing. Well, after much hullabaloo, I ended up walking up the road and grabbing this damn kiddie pool. So now I'm the proud owner of a kiddie pool that's cracked in half. When it gets less windy, I'm just going to burn the bastard. So there, that was my excitement for the day. What do you think? Would you have gotten the pool? Or would you have done the lazy thing and said, if it was right across my yard, right across my driveway, I'd have got it. No issue. But it was 2 blocks up the road. I don't know. I don't know what the right thing to do was. Ultimately, my wife's right. Theoretically, it could have blown out in front of a car, driving down the road, and could have caused a wreck, so better to do something about it than not. I'm still reasonably mobile. So, there you go. I did my good deed. Not really, though. Because I wouldn't have done it if my wife didn't tell me that I should do it. So, I can't really brag about being a good person for that one. I should have just did it. And then I could brag. I could have come on and said, you see how good of a person I am? But no, I'm not a good person. So why am I streaming early today? Look, there we go. That's my wife. It was up the road further when I saw it. Anyways, what's my wife know? Next time there's a pole on the side of the road, she could go get the pole. Sounds fair? Feminism, right? See? That's why we make $1 to the women 79 cents. Because when the pole's on the road, we have to go get it. That's the issue. Everybody get it now? You see what feminism's doing to this country? Holy smokes. It was not, but it was still not to our mailbox, just to be clear. So there you have it. That was my pick. Anyways, why am I streaming early today? That's a good question. Because I just did the extravaganza, which I will be doing all week. So you should make sure you're following the Crucible's Rumble channel. Even if you don't like the Crucible, even if you think they're all a bunch of maniac heathens, you're right, they are. You should follow the Crucible's Rumble channel because I'm on there quite a bit. And I will be doing from 6 to 7 p.m. all week. I will be doing the extravaganza. So Andrew, I think, is going to be streaming later tonight. And so I figure, I'll stream before him, and then my audience that likes him will be able to tune in. So let's start, before we get into like what the topic's about and all that, let's complain about the audience. Shall we? What do you think, audience? Was it moral or immoral for Courtney to not support your lie? I didn't lie. It was 2 blocks up when I saw it. The wind had blown it closer to my house, but it still wasn't at my house. But she should support. Anyways, I'm going to yell about the audience, but only one person. Anybody have a guess? Who in the audience is Rob gonna yell about? I'll give you a clue. It's someone here now. Anybody have any guesses? Let's see who could get it first. Let's yell about someone in the audience. Nope, not Marcellery. Nope, everybody says it's me. Is it Austin? Nope, 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 nope. No one's got it yet. No. I mean, they're making it obvious. Don't you think? Oh my gosh, no one's gotten it yet? No. No. Wow. No? No one gets it? All right. It's not Cool Vic either. Wow. It must just be me. I must just have a little spot in my fucking brain. It's this person. The new grift is complaining about Trump. Complaining about Trump's new grift move. Grift move. Really interesting. Now you're going to complain about Trump too. Yawn. Grifters all now complaining about Trump's every move. Really interesting. For shizzle, it's so cringe-izzle. Hey, I'm going to complain about Trump because other people are. Yawn. I want to sound like everyone else, so I'm going to complain about Trump. Real interesting. Rob, I'm just noticing patterns. Now, first off, I feel like I've criticized Trump as a Trump supporter, as someone who literally worked with his campaign, albeit just at the county level. I feel like I've criticized Trump way before it was popular for the people that were supporting Trump to criticize him. You go back and watch my videos and 2019, 2020, when it was very unpopular from a right-wing perspective to criticize Trump, primarily criticizing him for bombing Syria and for not draining the swamp and trusting people like Bill Barr and John Bolton. So the idea that I'm jumping on a bandwagon. Secondly, I just spent the majority of the extravaganza defending Trump and was about to do so with today's title. That I don't think Trump's attacking the press or free speech. But third and more importantly, what kind of smartass comes in before they even hear the show and is accusing me of what they assume I'm going to do and then claiming the reason I'm doing it's to be a grifter? So they make up a story in their head of what I'm going to say and then say that makes me a grifter. No. Don't back down. Now you say I'm saying I'm better than everyone else. Let's see. Is that what you said? Or did you say, hey, I'm going to complain about Trump because other people are? Yawn. I don't know. I'll give you the benefit of the doubt. Fair enough. We'll say that I misread you. I thought you were implying that that was me that was going to do. I'll say this. There are definitely people that craft their message based on what way the wind blows. And I understand it to some degree. So I'll tell you right now, I will never divulge who told me this. But there were, how do I explain this? Yeah, you acted on an assumption. You're bad. Yeah, I guess it is your bad. But I'm having a good day. So we're not going to flip out too much. All right. The title's a question. It even has a question mark. But that's the point. You want the title to bring people in, right? So I had some right wingers reach out to me around 2020 when I was criticizing Trump about his handling of Russiagate and the fact that he kept Bill Barr there and didn't get rid of Bill Barr and get people in there that would aggressively go after the FBI that engaged in Russiagate against Trump. And I had people that were bigger right-wing streamers DM me and say, listen, we really wish we could criticize Trump for things like this, but we can't because we'll lose audience members. Now, for me, it was easy because I was just doing this as a hobby. I didn't make any money. I had like 20, 30 people watching at best. So it didn't matter. And I did lose probably a third of my audience by criticizing Trump. But I understand it too. It's one thing when you're doing it as a career. There is a lot of ambiguous, like, look, life's not cut and dry. Everybody wants to assume that they're always going to be the good guy and they'll always do things right. And it's not that simple. Put it this way. There are competing values, right? Let's assume that I dislike, and I don't, but assume for a second I disliked Knob Creek whiskey, right? It's pretty good, but let's assume I disliked it. And I was like, I think it sucks. And I told all my friends for years, this shit sucks, right? I'm going to have a glass right now. How about that? But let's assume I hated it. But then I quit my job and I become a full-time streamer. And then all of a sudden it's not going so well. And 2 months in a row, I can't pay my mortgage. And I get an email from Knob Creek. And it says, hey, we like your show. We'd like to offer you $2,000 a month to do a little ad read. And all you have to say is like, Knob Creek's my favorite whiskey. It goes down smooth. Enjoy Knob Creek. Am I a piece of shit for doing it? Maybe. You may on one hand say, but you're lying to people. You don't believe that. You don't believe it's a good whiskey. My friends in real life would say, bullshit, Rob. You always complained about that whiskey. By the way, once more, I just want to say, this is just a hypothetical. I like Knob Creek. And by the way, I don't know any liquor that I've ever complained about regularly to my friends or anything. But I am sort of selling out, right? So, Take that to a bigger context. Let's say that my audience is comprised of 98% Trump supporters, like diehard Trump supporters. If Trump does something that I don't like, and I know that if I start saying I don't like this, then I'm going to lose a huge portion of my audience, am I a piece of shit for just saying, let's just ignore that story? I don't know. People throw the term grifter around a lot. And for me, it's like they exist. There are literally people that'll just say whatever the fuck they get paid to say. And there are people that don't have their own thought, that they're literally just constantly thinking, how do I build the biggest audience? Oh, if I say X, that'll give me a big audience. And then 3 months from now, if I say the opposite of X, that'll get me the biggest audience. And I have no respect for that. But I think sometimes the term's used a little, like, for example, people be like, Dave Smith's a grifter. Brett Weinstein's a grifter. Glenn Greenwald's a grifter. Why? I don't know. I think they legitimately are telling me their political opinions. I do. I have no way of proving it. It's just my gut feeling. And yes, have they said things that are contradictory? Of course. But we all do if we talk long enough. For me, I can't help myself. I just say what I think. There are times where I craft my message a certain direction. For example, if I have a guest on that I know is that we're going to talk about one topic and something comes up that like pisses me off or that I disagree with them on something else, I'll probably let it slide. Because it's like, well, we're talking about this one thing. But I don't know. I think that the accusation gets thrown around an awful lot. That's like, oh, that person's just a grifter. Like, let me give you an example. Someone I don't like. Progressive Victory's running around paying people to say shit, right? During the 2024 election cycle, right? One of the people they were paying was a guy by the name of Wick. Now, do I think Wick was just pretending to be a Trump-hating lefty? No, I think that's basically Wick's opinion, right? So I don't give a shit. He's getting money to give his opinion, and okay. He sucks. Who gives a fuck, right? But money well spent, Progressive Victory. I'm sure that turned the needle there, but I don't think he's grifting in that sense. So, I don't know. It's, it could look like grifting if you're like, man. And here's the other thing, right? Like, particularly with Trump. So much of the media coverage, even when it's completely undeserved on Trump, is horribly negative. Like, it's undoubtable there have been very good news cycles for Trump in his first term and in the second term. And the majority of our mainstream media doesn't want to give many victory, and they want to bitch about things left and right. Right? So if you're a fan of Trump, it's fucking horribly frustrating. I know it. So I tune into people that I think are giving me a different perspective. So like someone I liked listening to was Scott Adams. And there were days when I would tune into Scott Adams and he's criticizing Trump or policies that Trump embraces, etc. And I kind of, be honest, part of me was like, I don't know, maybe I'll tune that out a little. It wasn't that I was mad at Scott Adams. It was like, oh, I don't know. This is simultaneously informative, but also my entertainment. And I don't want my entertainment to be shit that I am like, here we go, more of the same, like Debbie Downer shit. So I understand when I come on here and I'm like, I don't like that Trump did X. There is a portion of my audience that's like, man, fuck that. I didn't tune in for this. And you might not even think it consciously. You just like subconsciously, you're like, here, it's the same old shit. Conversely, there are people now that are completely off the Trump train, and they'd be like, Oh, I didn't want to fucking tune in to hear Rob make excuses for Trump. Rob's anti-interventionist. Here we go, making excuses for Trump. So my solution to this problem is I just hope that I cultivate an audience that knows I'm just going to say what I feel on a particular day. And I'm pretty consistent. I think I'm up there with as high as consistent as anyone who's streaming. Like, it's not like one day I'm like, Trump's the best, and the next day I'm like, Trump's the worst. But I'm open. I don't think he's infallible. I think he is dealt a really uphill battle, and he's doing okay on some things, and he sucks on other things. But that's it. And I think I'm lucky that I've largely built an audience that's willing to accept, even if they disagree with me, that I'm at least being authentic. If you want to just make money, if you want to just like, and you don't mind just bullshitting, all you got to do is pick a side and never go against it. Like, be cat turd. Be cat turd, and you can tweet out on a Monday, Trump's the best because he would never bomb another country. He doesn't get us in these regime change wars. And then on Wednesday, you could be like, thank goodness Trump did a regime change war. Doesn't matter. You do that, you'll build a dopamine audience. That's what so much of like X is now. It's just these accounts. The big accounts are just people that are just repeating what other people say. And I don't know. It's not for me, though. Maybe if, I guess they'd have to send me a huge pile of money. They'd have to send me enough money that I could sell out for like 2 years and then be like, okay, we'll see y'all. I don't know that I could do it even then. I ask myself that. Could you? How much would it cost you? I mentioned it in the extravaganza today. I'm not surprised people sell out. I'm surprised at how little they do it for. How about 7,000? No, not enough. But I don't know. I mean, think about it seriously. It wasn't really the point of today's show, but think about it seriously. I assume most of the people watching here, at the very least, weren't fans of like Kamala Harris. Right? Is that fair to say? There might be one or two, but I would guess most of the people, even if you don't like Trump, you probably weren't a Kamala Harris fan. Right? How much would it have taken you to start a YouTube channel and 2 times a week do videos being like, yeah, here's why you should vote for Kamala? Is there any amount of money? If they offered you $20 million just for one campaign cycle, would you do it? It's easy to be like, of course not. But I don't know. $20 million is a lot of fucking money for 3 months' work. And after all, like, even me, like, you all listening probably don't have a channel as big as me. But even me, my channel's small compared to, the landscape out there. So it's not like any of us, if we did that, was really going to change the election. So, all right, you go on, you're like, I don't like Trump. I think he's dangerous. Kamala, she was a fine prosecutor, And she's out there and she's a very cheery lady. And I think she's really got her finger on the pulse of like what America's about. Optimism, breaking glass ceilings. Go Kamala. Thank you for the $20 million. Like, and then 2 years later, disappear for 2 years. People forget about you and come back and be like, yeah, I'm Republican, whatever, I don't know. It's an interesting thought. I think of weird shit like that. Like, I say like, yeah, you never sell your soul. Do you? Is that selling your soul? I don't know. She did not fall out of the coconut tree. I think I'm the opposite of a lot of people. I think a lot of people tell themselves, I'd never sell out, and then they would. And I tell myself, maybe I would sell out, and then I probably would not. I'd probably puss out. Be like, I can't do this. Depends on your circumstances, right? I'm paying all my bills. I have a home. My family's pretty happy. Money only does so much, you know? But if I was like broke and I was about to lose my house, I guess that's different. The stakes are different. You know? Yeah, you got bills. That's different. If you're already rich, or even if you're not rich, if you're already middle class, right? Maybe not so big of a deal. I think about that stuff though. Who will I be in 20 years? It's easy for me to say, I would never do this. But then maybe I would. I don't know. For me, I think, well, I guess if that happens, because I guess I can't control what 61-year-old Rob's going to be doing. I guess I can't. I guess all I could say is that 41-year-old Rob would be ashamed of 61-year-old Rob and try to make decisions on a daily basis that doesn't lead me to that. But I don't know. But anyways, getting back to the idea of grifting, I don't know. I can't 100% accuracy tell you who's just giving you bullshit opinions for money and who's maybe sometimes giving you bad opinions, but they authentically believe it. I don't know. I try my best. But all I can say is I think I can't think of a time that I've changed my opinion on something for money. I know damn well when I come on here and I'm going to talk about Israel or I'm going to talk about the Epstein files, that I'm hurting myself. I know it. I know that I am going to piss off a section of my audience. And yet, I talk about it all the time because the way I do my show is like, well, what's on my thought? What's on my mind when I'm doing the show that day? And if it's Epstein, then we're going to talk about Epstein. And if it's Iran, then we're going to talk about that. And if it's something that Trump did I don't like, then that's what we're going to talk about. And I know that there are people that are going to be like, Rob's a sellout. Rob's only getting paid. The Crucible tells him what he has to say. It's never happened, not once. Well, Rob's became more Christian since he's been working with the Crucible. Well, yes and no. Yes, quite literally, that's true. But I don't know that it's because I've worked with the Crucible. When I started my channel, I was damn near an atheist in like 2018. Then I started to become like non-denominational around 2019. And then I gradually started to get more and more serious about Christianity even before. In fact, if you remember, I told the story the other night. The reason that Andrew called me to leave my previous job was because I was doing a stream asking for prayers for one of the gentlemen I worked with. That's something I would have never done in 2019. Even when I started to be like, Christianity's probably true, I would have never publicly been like, hey, can you give a prayer to my friend? So I was already trending in that direction. But it is also true when you hang around with smart people and debate people, sometimes you start to go slightly towards their side. Like, for example, Ryan Mullally said this the other day. He was like, people were praising him like, hey, Ryan, Rob sort of moderated a little since he's been talking to you. Not really. That show's not designed. It's supposed to be just talking about legal ends of things, right? Not the political end. But Ryan's like, even if that's partially true, I've become more extreme talking to Rob. Right. That's not grifting. It's not that me and Ryan are grifting. It's just maybe you make a good point here, Ryan. I didn't think of it that way. Ryan says, Rob, maybe you make a good point. I didn't think of it that way. It's not that either of us are selling out. I mean, if we were, we're doing a bad job of it. I think both of us make less super chats doing that show than we do our regular shows. But we both like it. That's it. What else can you do, you know? So, I don't know. But I get the point. Like, you know, so I'm sorry if you find it boring if you think that me or other people were just bagging on Trump the whole time. I've tried to be nuanced in my view. And it is really what I think, that I'm pissed off that Trump has this foreign policy agenda, much of which I dislike. And I think that it leads to not focusing on what I voted him for, which was the domestic agenda. But I also understand the argument that, like, what do you expect Trump to do with the domestic agenda when his own party refuses to help him? In fact, they're outright sabotaging him in the Senate. And what have they done? How much do I expect one president when I'll be the first to tell you, I think that huge swaths of the executive agencies underneath him, people like at the FBI, etc., hate him. The legislative branch refuses to help him out, and the judicial branch is on a fucking war to sabotage him. So I do give some leeway where it's like, now wait a minute. How much can I reasonably expect this guy to do? And it's not the answer people want. People either want you to be like, it's all Trump's fault, or Trump's the best and nothing's his fault. But see, I don't go that far. I think you're right. Trump's had problems with his own Fed, agreed. But I don't say I don't blame anything on him. I don't say that. But to each their own. Let's read some super chats real quick, then we'll get into it. Over on Rumble. Thanks for being here, Rumblers. $2 from Tinker Tie Power. Says, off topic. Understand if you don't want to talk about it, but have you seen the I Am Jesus Christ game? Any thoughts? I have not seen that.
It's a game where you play as Jesus Christ. You literally, it's a role-playing game where you walk in the shoes of Jesus Christ from start to baptism through.
Is it like respectful or is it like over the top?
So, I mean, the commercials, there's a commercial I could bring it up for you on Steam. Here, really quick here.
I haven't heard anything about this.
Yeah, I can. This is super easy to bring up. Here you go, Rob, and we'll go here. And away we go. Share screen.
Do not be afraid. I bring you good news that will cause great joy for all the people. Today in the town of David, a Savior has been born to you.
Your hour has come.
Ah! What have we to do with you, Jesus of Nazareth? Have you come to destroy us?
I tell you, get up, take your mat, and go home. Be quiet, Jesus said sternly. Come out of him. Lord, if it's you, Peter replied, tell me to come to you on the water. Come.
Finally, we are meeting the Son of God, who wants to save all humans.
Are you the Messiah, the Son of God?
So it got taken down? Is that what people were saying? You're muted.
I mute for the background. So it got delisted from PlayStation. It's still on Steam. Asmongold played it, from what I know. Super controversial right now. Is it blasphemy? Is it not? Yeah. So that's what.
So two things. First, if it's done in a satirical way, like if it's just like, Jesus is Duke Nukem and he's just blowing people away, I can see people being pissed off. I get that, right? Sort of the belittling of religion, even if it's done in like a humorous way. I can understand that. It doesn't appear from... you saw what I saw. That's all I've seen about this game. It seems like they're genuine, unless there's something within the game. But from that trailer, I would be expecting to play a game that was done by people that were Christians, that have reverence for Jesus. Is what it seems like to me. It doesn't seem like they're poking fun, right? So then the question becomes a sort of philosophical question about depictions of Jesus, and particularly in an entertainment form, right? Is there an argument that, like, look, we shouldn't be trivializing the importance of Christ by having it in video game format? I have to be clear. I'm someone who is sort of a neophyte Christian. I'm still haven't chosen a denomination, and so I'm not the best from a theological standpoint to answer these questions. I can only tell you what my gut feeling is. For me, my gut feeling is I don't have a problem with it because anything that gets different people interested in Christianity, I think is a net positive. So, for example, if I wasn't a Christian and in high school, I would have been in maybe 11th grade when Passion of the Christ came out, and I went and saw Passion of the Christ, and that inspired me to go to church, would it have been a good thing? I think so. Right? If, this isn't, by the way, unique. There were, like, even as far back as, like, the Nintendo Entertainment System, like the NES, there were biblical games. I don't know that you ever played as Jesus. That I'm not sure of. But I don't have a theoretical problem with a Christian sincerely trying to adopt the life of Christ into a video game if the reason is we want to bring a different sort of audience into Christianity that maybe would be less likely to do so. I don't have a problem with that. I don't know. Maybe there's a theological reason, like the Muslims don't want any depiction of Muhammad. Maybe there is a theological reason why that's true of Christians in Christ. Now, the next question is it denominationally against what many people believe? For example, if this is made by Protestants, are there going to be little parts in there that a Catholic or an Orthodox, etc., would say, no, I don't agree with that? Possibly. But then I have a hard time criticizing that any more than I would a Protestant out evangelizing, right? To me, it's like, of course, it's what their interpretation is. I don't have to agree with it, but do I find it more blasphemous because they put it in a video game format? Not really. And then I guess the only other question is, well, what if it sucks? Right? Like, if you're a Christian, you're like, all right, I can accept that. I want to bring more people to Christ, but I don't want someone to make a bad video game and then drive people away. Maybe. But for me, I don't, on face value, I don't have a problem with it. I will say, though, one of the reasons that I'm so hesitant to talk about Christianity is, for me, I think that going to a church that I thought was really crappy did real harm to me. Like, more than any atheist could have ever done, convincing me. Like, being in a church that claimed to be Christian and then did a bunch of stuff that I thought was pretty unethical and not very Christian, to me, that was more damaging for me being a Christian than anyone outside of proclaiming to be Christian could do. I don't know. That's sort of my opinion on it. So,
speaking of games, so did you get your VK character yet?
I did.
Did you see Aversus?
I did.
What did
I
you
saw.
think?
Well, I thought they were both very good. I figured I'd leave. See, I was gonna see. You see, I was just about to say I was gonna leave Speakeasy debut it. So I'm not gonna show mine.
They don't do they? I don't. He doesn't debut it. They just put it in the slot, as far as I know.
Well, here, then I'll show mine. This is what Speakeasy made for me. Let's see. Everybody makes me more ripped than I am. You know,
Speakeasy and I were having a hoot over yours.
I am. I got my my booze jug with the Normal America logo.
Oh, see, yours was a different variant than the one I got of you.
Well, there's that. Then here, that's the one that with the background taken out. Then there's this.
Yeah. There we go.
Yeah.
With the whip, you like that?
It's very good. It's very good.
Fantastic.
Yeah, good stuff. I like my scowl. That looks like me middle debating Teriak. That was my face right there. You know. Yeah, Bo Raicho,
it's
except
fantastic.
ripped. He could have gave me a gut. I wouldn't have minded. Wouldn't bother me. But all right. So that was one super chat, and we're 42 minutes into the show. More super chats over here for Shizzle. Thank you for being a member. Really appreciate it. The Great Naughty Germ. Thank you, as always, my friend, for the $5. Really appreciate it. Mem Birdman, $5 says, I salute your apathy, Rob. If there's one thing I'm good at, it's apathy. And Blasterbutt, $5 says, if Rob wanted to grift, he would give a day of discounted whip songs. Then he would make loads of money. Uh-huh. And don't forget, sometime in June, we will be having the very first annual Blasterbot Dino Battle Spectacular.
Woo!
To be announced. Yeah, to be announced for the future. So that'll be sometime in June. I'll get together with Blasterbot and find a day. Oh, there we go. Speakeasy already posted it. There you go.
Yeah.
So there you have it. There he is. We'll make sure we get that. Maybe we'll get the face as an emoji. We'll get Arween up, man. That's nice.
Yeah, I was quite proud of mine. It came out. I don't think I could have asked for a better. Because we were having some issues because at first he gave me a lantern, right? And I was like, I do like the lantern, but those rings just look so much better, and it looks like I got that whip right around my hand. So
you got the orange lantern symbol on your belt there too.
Yeah, it's fantastic. So I don't think we can.
Look at the Chad jawline he gave you.
I know.
Wow.
I know. He did me real good. I know. Must say.
Yeah, that's good stuff. Oh man, that's what I was going to say too.
Show.
Yeah, Brian Shapiro will be a big fan. He gets to see the shirt open.
Oh yeah, right.
Don't tell him it's CG or it's created.
Yeah,
let the guy have his win.
I'm excited for today's show, so let's get on.
Yeah. So but thank you, Speakeasy and everyone over at Verbal Combat, and then Kokomo. Oh, sorry. Yeah, robnoerr.shop for all of your merch needs. Make sure you go over there, buy hats, shirts. I'm not even wearing my own hat today. I like this Peps hat. You can't get that at my shop. And then last, Kokomo, $20. Thank you so much. Says here. Thank you. What do you think? Is Trump attacking free speech? So I'll play the clip, but let's outline it. We talked yesterday about Trump's tweet, right? About basically we're going to go after bridges, we're going to go after parking lots. And we talked about sort of this pilot that was down. So here's the question. If we take the Trump administration and Trump at his word, here's what occurs. 2 planes shot down, but Iran doesn't know the status of the pilots. The United States almost immediately rescues one. The other one, they're having difficulty, and they were unable to rescue. But the Iranian government wouldn't have known that. Someone leaks this to the press, who immediately puts out one of these pilots wasn't recovered, which then the Iranian military would be able to see to know, let's find out where that aircraft was shot down and try to get to this pilot so that we could capture him, kill him, use it for propaganda, etc. Is that treason? Is that aiding and abetting our enemy? It's a difficult question. We talked about it in the extravaganza a little. Now, Trump, for his part, has came out and it's like, listen, we know which news outlet broke the story first. I'm not so sure. I heard different people suggest, I think I heard Fox News, I heard the Washington Post. So I'm not sure what outlet broke it first. But basically what Trump's threatening is we are going to go to that news outlet and say, who was it from you that did this story? You're going to tell us who your source was inside the U.S. military. And if you don't, we're going to lock them up. We're going to lock you up. Well, why am I even taking the bait here? What are you talking about? What's the issue? What is my mod doing? He's a rogue mod. Deleting. He's betrayed me. Betrayed by my mod. In all caps. Why do I even take the bait? What is the issue? He's already banned. Listen, I'll say this once. If you have something to send me because you think one of my mods blocked you or treated you unfairly, you can reach out to me. 99% of the time, I think my mods are great and I'm going to agree with them. That's just it. That's the way it is. I know sometimes that sucks. Sometimes you feel like that's not the case. Totally get it. It's not an easy job. There are literally people that come onto my show with the intent of getting my channel banned. So it's not easy for the moderators. And sometimes maybe they just don't like you and their bias oozes out onto that. I don't know. I feel bad for you if you feel that way. I guess all I could suggest is DM me, but there's probably a better than not chance that I'm going to stand behind the mods. So, yeah, someone was harassing someone. Yeah, there you go. So everybody's always innocent, though. Anytime a moderator takes actions, they didn't do anything wrong. So that's always the thing. Anyways, so let's play the clip here from Trump from today. There's a lot of good clips today from Trump. Okay.
But these two extraordinary rescues, because it was two, and as you probably know, we didn't talk about the first one for an hour. Then somebody leaked something, which we'll hopefully find that leaker. We're looking very hard to find that leaker. And talked about there's somebody missing. They basically said that we have one and there's somebody missing. Well, they didn't know there was somebody missing until this leaker gave the information. So whoever it was, we think we'll be able to find it out because we're going to go to the media company that released it, and we're going to say, national security, give it up or go to jail. And we know who, and you know who we're talking about, because some things you can't do. Because when they did that, all of a sudden, the entire country of Iran knew that there was a pilot that was somewhere on their land that was fighting for his life. And it also made it much more difficult for the pilots and for the people going in to search for him. All of a sudden, they know that there's somebody out there. They see all these planes coming in. It became a much more difficult operation because a leaker leaked that we have one, we've rescued one, but there's another one out there that we're trying to get. So actually, the country, Iran, put out a major notice, you all saw it, offering a very big award for anybody that captures the pilot. So in addition to a hostile, very talented, very good, very evil military, we had millions of people trying to get an award. So when you add that to it, but we have to find that leaker because that's a sick person. Probably didn't realize the extent of how bad it was. I can't imagine that the person did, but we're going to find out. It's national security, and the person that did the story will go to jail if he doesn't say, and that doesn't last long, and I think everybody would understand it. They put this mission at great risk. They put that man at great risk, and they put the hundreds of people that went in looking for him, because everyone now knows that we're going in.
So I sort of have mixed feelings on this. I do think that freedom of the press is something that we should support, even if it means being hostile to administrations that we like. My criticism, now look, let me backtrack for a minute. The majority of my criticism for the alleged press, i.e. propaganda news that calls themselves the press, the majority of my criticism isn't that they're too harsh on Trump. They are. They'll do ridiculous shit. They'll make up shit. They'll spread any bullshit, even if they know it's a lie, about Trump. But I could live with that as long as they were also hostile to Trump's opponents, to the Democrats, to other people of different political affiliations. If we just have an unhinged press that's being hyper hostile to all politicians, I could live with that. I'd sooner not. I'd sooner it be fair and be antagonistic, but also trying to be accurate and fair. But the problem is that they're hyper hostile to Trump and then hyper friendly to the establishment. For example, the Democrat opponents of Trump. And that's what makes them worthless. They don't hold truth to power. They bury the truth for the powerful. That's their job now. But the idea of freedom of the press is an important idea. They're right about that. I, for example, don't want Trump to be like, I'm going to lock a journalist up because he reported a story saying that I like to watch videos of monkeys every night, and that's not true. I would not be for that. Just any general story that embarrasses the administration. However, the stakes are different if we're talking about military lives in an ongoing operation being lost. So let's break this apart piece by piece. Let's say that Trump is about to stage a rescue of this pilot. And they're going to come in through a certain, let's say, I don't know, they're going to land at a certain location and then travel through a forest area for 5 miles, coming out at a certain town, and then doing this rescue mission. And that's going to be at like 9 p.m. Eastern time. And someone leaks that to the New York Times, and the New York Times releases that information a half hour before the mission. Do you think that the New York Times should know that that likely puts the soldiers' lives at risk? What do you think? To me, that obviously, like, I would not buy the excuse from that reporter at the New York Times that would be like, oh, we didn't know that that would jeopardize. Of course you did. Of course you knew. You literally told the enemy a half hour before an operation, here's exactly where this operation is going to take place. That, to me, clearly is jeopardizing the lives of our soldiers. Now, it's irrelevant whether or not you agree with the mission. That's irrelevant. Now, that's different than if the New York Times reports there have been conversations inside the Pentagon of possibly attacking Cuba at some point in the future. That's more of a hypothetical, possibly, it's not a specific time, place, mission that jeopardizes the soldiers. I do believe the press should be reporting on if they're getting information about possible conflicts, etc. That's a different, completely different. Now, if giving specific details of the mission, if we agree, and I think most of us do, that jeopardizes the soldiers, what about announcing that a mission's about to take place in the first place? So this particular situation, this basically let the Iranian government know, there's an enemy pilot in our country right now, behind enemy lines. Now, if I could steel man the position, the other side, would they have been sending out troops anyways if they knew they downed a plane? Probably. But would it have been the same if they suspected that there was a living pilot? Probably not. And would it have been the same if they suspected that the United States was about to put boots on the ground to retrieve that pilot? Probably not. So as far as I'm concerned, this was akin to providing aid to the enemy. Now, the only question is, where does the majority of the blame go? And for me, it's simple. The blame goes with the leaker. Someone with access to military information leaked to the press. Why they did that? My guess would be because they don't like Trump, like many of the people inside the military and inside our executive branch agencies. But maybe they just did it to cultivate a relationship with the press or personal benefit, whatever. That person jeopardized not only the life of that pilot, but also the lives of everyone that was sent in to help that pilot. And that person should face legal consequences. Do I think they should be executed? No. But I think they should spend serious time in jail if it finds out that they did this. Barring some explanation, which I couldn't foresee. But what about the press? It's more difficult, believe it or not. To me, they're not as guilty as the person that leaked it. They were given information, they thought it was actionable, they presented it to the American people. That's right. Not every treason case results in the death penalty. It would not be my recommendation to pursue a death penalty for this. I think that if the press is willing to give up the leaker, I would be fine with not pursuing criminal charges with them beyond that. Now, the chances are there will be a gut reaction for that member of the press to not release their source for professional, ethical reasons. In which case, I don't think it's beyond the pale for Trump to say, then we're going to throw you in jail. Because you're in effect protecting someone who committed treason. Do I think that whatever press outlet this was and whoever the connection was is as bad as the leaker? No. But I do think if they're unwilling to cooperate in finding out who the leaker was and being honest with it, that they should go to jail for contempt. That's my opinion. So I think that there are things that Trump has said or done. Like Trump at one point said that it was treasonous to like criticize him or something. That's stupid. No. And I'll call Trump out when I think that he's attacked unfairly the concept of free speech. I didn't like a lot of what he had to say about the flag burning and things like that. But I do not put this in one of those cases. I take the lives of our soldiers very seriously, regardless if they're sent on missions that I support or not. And I don't want to see people leaking for partisan reasons to jeopardize our soldiers. And this isn't ambiguous. This wasn't like, oh, well, we didn't know that could possibly jeopardize them. Of course you did. But that's my take on it. Anyone disagree? What if the leaker's an Israeli government employee? Then they too should be held accountable. No, I don't think they know who leaked it. That's why he's saying we know which press outlet reported it first. Should major press outlets have a contact with the national security to safeguard active military operations? Well, they do. Sure. The problem is Trump bad, so we'll leak to hurt Trump. So that was it. That was the big, one of the big stories today that, that you're going to hear a lot about. Trump's unhinged. Now, one of the things I'll say here, it's difficult is when I come up with the stories for the extravaganza and then do my show immediately after, it becomes difficult because it's a lot of repetition. But I do want to cover, look, Imaginarium's on it. I do want to cover this other, this is just funny to me. Here's Trump discussing Kim Jong-un and what Kim Jong-un thinks of Joe Biden.
To protect them from North Korea, we have 45,000 soldiers in South Korea to protect us from Kim Jong-un, who I get along with very well, as you know. Do you notice he said very nice things about me? He used to call Joe Biden a mentally retarded person, okay? So don't tell me about your stuff. Joe Biden, he said he's a mentally retarded person. He was so nasty to Joe Biden. It was terrible. But to me, he likes Trump. And do you notice how nice things are with North Korea? It's very nice. But we have 45,000 people, soldiers, in harm's way, and right next to Kim Jong-un with a lot of nuclear weapons to protect them from North Korea.
I mean, Kim Jong-un's not wrong, right? He's a mental retard. Oh, man. I believe Kim Jong-un said that as well. I'd like to think that he was like broken English, like, what is word? Retard. Oh, man. The good stuff. That is very good. Making a comeback. I have mixed feelings about the word retard, believe it or not, which I'll get to in a second after I see what the fine folks at Rebel are up to. Yeah, I know. Six pack. I know. It's but I get it. I've typed stuff that could jeopardize channels too, and I'm not trying to. Character holding, thanks for the $5 over there. He says, is there a distinction between press and propaganda? Should be. I don't think there is at this point. I think our free press is a joke. And then Six Pack, $5 says, my Mexican work bestie is against the war, but I support the troops. At the same time, he's in favor of enforcing immigration, but to heck with ICE. That's fallacious. Haven't taken him to task yet. Thoughts? Yeah, I mean, it's not fallacious, theoretically. For example, you could say, I support deportations, but I think ICE is too aggressive in how they do it. I think that's just buying into the propaganda bullshit. But people believe this. Like, we've known this about, like, sort of polling for a long time. Pollsters could get people to say whatever they want based on how they word the question. Do you support deportations? Yes. Do you support ICE separating families? No. But it's basically the same thing, right? So, Harry, good news, man, that you got a job offer. Great. Good for you, man. Hopefully it all works out for you, man. That's great news. But ultimately, what I would suggest is not pushing too hard, particularly with the support the troops but against the war thing. That seems to be natural. As far as the immigration thing, understand that people are getting a filtered view of what's going on and that you're automatically on a difficult side because having a big heart is easy. No one wants to see, all it takes is one child crying, my father! And you can understand a human reaction to being like, that's bad. Taking that young girl's father away is bad. And so just try to understand that it is a normal reaction for someone it's consuming a left-wing media that's showing them just that slice of it to feel that way. But to let them know, look, inevitably, anytime that significant changes need to be made because of the violent actions and the corrupt actions that we've seen that have gone on for decades. For example, it's hard for ICE to do their job when the left's encouraging violence against them, blowing whistles in their ear, and tipping off the people they're trying to go after. What other law enforcement agency has to deal with that? And the reason we have to take extreme measures is because the opposition let 10 million people in a 4-year span. So, all right, over on YouTube, Super Chats, Blasterbot, $10 says, who slips ships? I'm fine with this. Press is actively trying to get our soldiers harmed, supporting Iran. Even if you don't like the Orange Man, support the troops and your fellow Americans. Totally agree. I have a difficult relationship with the word retard. Believe it or not. I don't have a problem with it. I don't. But I have seen the other side of it. I did work with adults with autism and disabilities, and I would see from time to time how that term in particular could really hurt their feelings. And it's difficult. For me in life, you should punch up more than you punch down. And I know this is an argument the left makes, but they're erroneous in who's up and who's down. For example, they'll say, oh, you're going after marginalized trans people. No, the trans people, while they feel marginalized, for a long point were actually one of the strongest PR blocks out there. For example, if you called me fat, could I get you banned on Twitch? Nope. But if I misgendered you, done. Tell me about marginalization again? What excuse would I have to come up to get myself into a woman's locker room? These dudes had it made in the shade, though. So I understand. I chose not to use the word retard in the capacity of any time that I was remotely around anyone that I was working with. And I don't mean not to call them retards, obviously, but like anyone else in front of them. I tried my best not to do that. Because there are people that are legitimately have mental disabilities that have been called that word and they know what that means. So, but I ultimately don't think it's the end of the world. If you're going up to a person who's clearly autistic and has some sort of developmental disability and you're like, oh, you're retarded, like you're probably an asshole. If you're saying it to the stupid ass lefty that's blowing a bullhorn or a whistle, I don't have a problem with it. So that's that. However, I bring it up because I actually saw a story today that this story like made me viscerally like this is one of the most angry I've been in a long time seeing a video. And for me, this is hard to watch. I don't know that it will be for you. I took taking care of people very seriously. I'm not saying I was the best at it, but I knew when I went to work, I was always sober. I always tried to be. I'm not saying you don't bring baggage from your home into work. Everybody does. It's impossible. I get that, right? But you always have to remember that it's a human being, that you're taking care of a human being. Now, that human being might be mean to you. It might be very difficult and hard work. I took care of one gentleman in particular for like 14 years. I don't care who you are. Like if you're married, do you have a girlfriend that you've lived with? Do you live with a roommate? No one can get under your skin like the people that know you best. And if you're a person who's receiving support from me for 14 years, you probably know exactly what to say to piss me off. You have to be the bigger person and be like, all right, you know? You do. You always have to remind yourself. One of the things I would tell people, see, these companies that'll train you for this shit, they're full of shit too. They have to say certain things, right? But when you step back and think about it, it's impossible to act like they're telling you to. Like, for example, they'll say, well, this is a therapeutic relationship. You're being paid to be here, so you can't become friends. One of the companies I worked with told us, you're not allowed to introduce the person you're supporting to your family. Well, the problem is, I live in a small town with basically one grocery store. Guess what? I'm going to run into friends and family while I'm out grocery shopping with the person I support. What am I supposed to do? Duck down the aisle so they don't see me? That's weird. So you just are like, yeah, okay, whatever. As far as the friendship thing, it is true that you are not quite a friend. You are friendly and you are friends. But you do have to remember that you are being paid. So let me give you an example. If Are We Not Men is in town and I call him, I say, hey, what's up, Are We Not Men? You want to go to see the Mario movie Friday night? And he's like, what time? I was like, 6. He's like, I can't go till 8. Let's do 8. And I say, cool. He says, yeah, man, my car's in the shop. Stop by my house. We'll go. All right. So I swing by Are We Not Men's house, like 7:30. We pull into the theater. It's 8 o'clock. And he's like, nah, actually, I don't feel like it. Take me home. I'd be like, hey, man, fuck you. How about that? You asshole. You just wasted my night, right? It'd piss you off. If your friend does something like that, you'd be like, what the fuck? This sucks. But that shit happens. That happens. A lot of times when you're taking care of these people with disabilities. I can't tell you how many times. I drove 4 times from my client's home to PNC Park in Pittsburgh. 2-hour and change drive. 4 times we drove out there and wouldn't get out of the car. Nope, I don't feel like it. Let's go home. One of my favorite days at work was finally when we did get out of the car. It was the weirdest thing. What it was, you want to know what finally got, because there was a lot of anxiety for my client with large crowds. And what it was, so we keep driving out, we keep trying, and then we wouldn't make it. We wouldn't make it. And then finally, we were in the parking lot, and I'm trying to talk my guy into getting out of the car, and he's wearing a pirate shirt that we bought him, and it had the old Pirates logo on it. Let me see if I can find a picture of it. It was this logo. This big one on the right. That's like their logo after the 70s. So he had a shirt with that, right? And so I'm trying to convince him, and the car pulls in next to us, the parking lot, and the guy gets out, and he's wearing the same shirt. And so my guy winds down his window and is like, hey, I like your shirt. And this random dude's like, yeah, Pirates. You going to the game? And I was like, we're trying. He's like, come on, let's walk over. That was it. Just some random guy that happened to be wearing the same shirt. And we got out there, and we only stuck around like 3 innings. But after that, we'd go 2-3 times a year to the Pirate games. All because randomly, some dude in the parking lot had the same shirt on and said something nice. That's it. That was the tipping point. And then once we got there, he had fun, and we would try to go on days where, a day game when you knew that maybe they were playing someone that wasn't that good and you knew it wasn't going to be that busy. And we'd try to get seats that were like way in the upper deck so it wouldn't be that crowded. But that's what it's like. Like, it's frustrating, man. You drive 2 hours out to a game and then you sit in the parking lot for an hour trying to convince the person you're with to go into the game, and they ultimately decline. So you drive home for 2 hours. If it was your friend, you'd be like, man, fuck you. I'm going into the game. You can sit in the car. I don't give a shit. So it is different. You have to be professional. Doesn't mean you're never going to get upset. Doesn't mean that you're never going to be like, yeah, fuck this. It happens. But you have to be professional. So when I saw this, oh my gosh, did this make my blood boil. So this went viral today. And I believe this woman is a caretaker of this elderly gentleman. And I'll just show you what happens here.
Hey, bro, where your people at? Huh? You okay? You okay? Come on, let's go home. I'm gonna take you home, okay? Okay. Come on. Come on.
Thank you.
You okay?
Yeah.
Okay. I got you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Turn around and go back the way you came. Turn around and go back the way you came. Turn around and go back the way you came.
Why?
What?
What do you mean? He's wet. What are you talking about?
He just is not supposed to be out here. He's going to go all the way back the way he's supposed to go.
Where is he supposed to go? Don't he live here?
He knows.
He knows what?
Where he's supposed to. Are you supposed to be out here? No.
Well, why would you make him go way back down there?
To teach him. It's like
To teach him what? Yeah, that's what happens when you get old.
No. You don't know half things like that. You don't know what you're talking about.
No, I do know what I'm talking about.
You have no idea.
Yeah, I know exactly. Yeah, I'm about to mind yours. Because I know you fucking just using them for a check, you piece of shit. You got this man doing this shit in his Pampers, or you get. I'll call the fucking police right now. I'll call the fucking police. That man in a fucking pamper wet. And you gonna make him go back down the street, you stupid motherfucker?
He can walk the way he needs to walk.
What do you mean the way he need to walk? I'm calling the fucking police, you stupid piece of shit. The video I posted yesterday and what's going on. Well, I've talked to people. I talked to somebody from DSS earlier. I talked to a detective. You know what I mean? I got an email from somebody from something called FSS. I've talked to a lot of people. But at the end of the day, man, I just want him to be safe and live his last days in some sort of glory. You know what I mean? Some sort of comfortability, because this is ridiculous. And I've threatened her before because I've seen stuff before, but it not like this. You know what I mean? Even my neighbor said that she's seen her wash him off with a water hose in the backyard. So it's just a horrible situation, man. And I just pray for him, and I pray that I'm able to get him situated in a better situation. Yeah, I just want to do a little update, man. Let everybody know I appreciate the love. I appreciate everybody's support and all the prayers and everything. And as of now, I haven't seen her, but I've seen, I'd say city cars pull over there, like, well, at least 2. So the ball is rolling, and I'm sure next week I'll be getting calls from some people. So I just want to say I appreciate everybody for their concerns and the love. Thank you.
Now, I see. It's fake. He didn't call people. Maybe. I don't know. It could all be fake. I know we live in that day and age. If this is as presented, good on this guy. Because it would be easy to just ignore it, and to intervene like he did, I think, is noble. I don't know that I could have withheld my rage if I saw that. I may have ended up in a police car myself. And I don't believe this is fake. I believe this guy's telling the truth. And if he did intervene in that way and try to call some sort of authorities, I have nothing but the utmost respect for that gentleman. Because it's easy to just turn your head and say, whatever, none of my business. I cannot tell you the amount of rage that instills with me. It is unbelievable how shitty humans could be. And in the line of work similar to what this one was doing, I don't know if this man maybe you could tell there was something in addition to being elderly, perhaps Alzheimer's or some form of dementia. A lot of the people I worked with ranged the gambit from being nonverbal to having dementia to any sort of disability that you could think. And as such, it's very hard for them to stick up for themselves. And one of the things I learned, I'm a very naive person. You know, I grew up thinking everybody's pretty much good. There's a couple Ted Bundys out there, and that's about it. And that's not it. So when I got into that field, I was shocked at some of the shit I saw. Absolutely shocked. At every level. At the entry level, like me, it was called a DSP, a direct support professional. So the DSPs to the supervisors to law enforcement, sometimes they'd have to act, to a nurse, to the county workers, state level advocates, doctors. I couldn't believe how poorly some of these people were treated. One of the things I learned early on, and at first I didn't believe it, but I fully believe it now. People that want to abuse people tend to go into careers where it's easy to do so. So, for example, if you're a child predator, there's a good chance that you'll try to find a job where you could work with children. And it makes sense in a fucking disgusting way. And it makes you feel bad for the people that are in that line of work that aren't doing anything shitty. But at this point, if I see a male first grade teacher, I'm gonna be. You have to admit, you have a little skepticism. You're like, and that's not fair. It's not that there can't be a good male teacher of a low grade like that, but I understand it. And imagine that you're an abuser of some sort. And here's this population of people. Here's a job where you literally are with an individual who's basically nonverbal or can't tell on you 24/7. When you're there, no one else is with you. Just you and that person. Imagine being given the smallest bit of authority possible. You're the big man. You're in charge of the house with the autistic guy. When it's you and him there, you make the decisions. Wow. Amazing. And I saw people run with that authority in some of the most disgusting ways you can imagine. It was, I mean, I could tell you stories, it'll blow your mind. And sometimes it'd be from the people you would least expect. You'd be like, but wait a minute, that person's been with the company 8 years. And nothing fucking infuriated me more than watching some of that shit with some of these people. You know, the guy I took care of for the longest amount of time, who I still go and have lunch with, I tried every other week. We try to have birthday parties and stuff. He's a great guy. He's one of my best friends in the world. He came from a facility, like a psych ward. And I've told this story before, but when I started working there, he couldn't eat any condiment that was white. No mayonnaise, no ranch dressing, nothing. And I just thought, oh, he doesn't like it. Okay, fair enough. And as I got to know him, he would tell me this story. When he was in that facility, they would, if he was having a bad day, they would strap him to a bed. And if he wouldn't take his pills voluntarily, they'd grab him by the neck, and then they'd take the pills, and they'd dip them in mayonnaise, choke him, and then shove the pills down his throat. The mayonnaise would help it go down the throat. And so, you know, I'm working with him, and it's 13, 14 years since he's been in there. Now it's been 25, 26 years to this day. Anywhere you go, he loves going out to eat. You know, you go out to a restaurant, you know, oh, he wants the chicken salad. Does it have mayonnaise? I can't have mayonnaise. And you can see it, like PTSD. And like, is so crazy. Like, all the time I ever worked there. And like, there'll be frustrating stuff. Like, he like a lot of these clients, they just want, you know, they want it to be as normal as possible. So one of the things you'd see is a lot of the people you work with, their hobbies would become your hobbies. So if you like country music and you're in the radio, what do you like to listen to? I like country. Yeah, let's listen to country. And then they'd start to like country. You know, and for one of the big things was sports, like football and hockey. And, so imagine you watch 40 hockey games at work, and all of a sudden your team's in the playoffs, and you're like, oh, the playoffs are on, let's watch it. Nah, I don't want to watch it. Guess what? You're at work. You don't get to choose what's on TV. It's their house. You say, okay, what do you want to watch? He would still ask me, to the day I left there, am I allowed to change the channel? I'm like, yeah, buddy, it's your house. Whatever you want to watch. But it's the people that would abuse the situation is insanity. It would break your heart to know. There were times I'd be at a house and I would refuse to leave. I'd be like, I'll stay unpaid because I'm afraid that the person that just came in is not a good person. I saw things like medications being stolen, personal finances being stolen. One time I came in and saw a person who had quite obviously been punched till their eyes were swelled shut black. I came in one time to a person on the verge of death. They had a terrible case of COVID and hadn't been able to breathe for about 9 days. And I had to, within 10 minutes of being at work, had to call an ambulance. People died in the line of work I was at some of the companies. It's no joke. And I don't know what to say. It's difficult. I see both sides of the argument. On one hand, it costs a lot of money to provide that level of care and to pay the people that are good people what they deserve. And I'm not an idiot. We can't just take everyone in a mental health setting and say, we're going to give you 3 staff and we're going to pay all those staff $40 an hour. Where's the money coming from? But on the other hand, if you're paying people minimum wage, you're not going to get good workers. And so are you surprised when they're stealing pills? And so when I see shit like this, and you'll still see it. You'll be out in town and you'll see someone that's clearly working like I did. And you can almost immediately tell if it's a good employee or not. Yeah, no, I'll be over in a minute. And you're like, God damn. Because you just know if that's the way it is in public, they're ignoring them when they're back home. It's just so fucking sad. And in addition to sort of mental health care and stuff like that, I find our entire culture when it comes to the elderly blows my fucking mind. I was lucky. I'll never be grateful enough to my mom and dad for how they treated my grandparents. My grandpa, a surly old son of a bitch, one of my favorite people I ever met, tough dude. My grandpa was the kind of guy that would be like, I'll be damned if I ever leave my home. This is my fucking home. I've lived here 50 years. They ain't putting me in some nursing home. Fuck that. It wouldn't matter if they were like, but if you go to the nursing home, it'll be great and you'll live another 20 years. If you stay here, you'll be dead in a week. Would not give a shit. Fuck you. I ain't going. Except that my grandma got ill. And she had gotten dementia so bad that there was no choice but to put her in a facility. And so my grandpa decided he would go in with her. And from the time I was a teenager, maybe 12, 13, for 3 to 4 years while they were in this nursing home, every single Wednesday, Saturday, and Sunday, we went and visited my grandpa for at least 2 hours, my grandpa and grandma. And I hated it when I was a teenager. First, because it'd be like, hey, my friends are doing something. Can I stay and play with my friends? No, get in the car. We're going to visit your grandparents. And at first, it wasn't that I didn't like my grandparents, and I happily went most of the time. But the fact that you had to go, it sucked. There were exceptions if you had a school function or something like that. But by the time I got older and was like 16, I just remember being like, I can't believe the throwaway culture. Like, there are people that my grandpa, he wasn't super wealthy, but, he would get to the point where he would be like, fuck it. He's just going to piss his money away because he get tired of his kids fighting over money. So he'd be like, go and ask everyone in all the rooms if we got KFC what they would want. Okay. So you get to know these people because you'd be like, hey, how's it going, Mr. So-and-so? We're going to get KFC. You want anything? Yeah, get me a thigh and a biscuit. Okay. And then we would do that all the time, or milkshakes or something like that. And there were people in there, I swear, never had anyone visit. Imagine that. And then my mother-in-law used to do hospice care. And really think of what that is. Like, the last 6 months, 9 months of your life, the closest person to you is going to be someone you've never met your entire life. And they're going to be the one holding your hand when you die. It's so weird. Isn't it? It's just, to me, it's like, huh. It's so odd to me. And we just accept it. Well, I'm busy. Life goes on. It's strange. It's very strange. I pick on my mom and dad. My dad, he's always picking on me. So I tell my mom all the time. I was like, I promise when you get older, we'll do everything we can to take care of you. I'm like, not dad, though. I'm going to throw him in the shittiest nursing home I can. But, so when you see something like this, that fucking lady, that piece of shit, may she receive tenfold what she's doing to that elderly gentleman. There's nothing more despicable than harming the people that need the most help amongst us. Fucking enrages me. Absolutely disgusting. And you'd be surprised at how common that shit is. If you missed it, an old man with dementia with a soiled diaper, a neighbor tries to help him back to his home, and his caretaker says he's not allowed to come back home. He has to walk around the block to, quote, learn his lesson. But I saw that story today, and I had to put down my phone and go, like, walk away and do some other shit. I was so mad about it. You wouldn't believe, man. You would not believe the shit I saw in that field. And you couldn't believe it. All right. Well, depressing. So let's move on. Over on Rumble. Tinker Type Powers, $2 says, Ice hit a job in November. I bartend at. They didn't come into the business. They were good to everyone who they took. The way I look at it, you are a work friend I made. She rolled the dice. Well, I talked about it this weekend to some people at Easter. A lot of people have a big heart, and they're like it's tough. Look, I'll be honest. When it comes to the immigration shit, if I worked with a dude who was an illegal and I just didn't know it, and I worked with him for 10 years, and he had a wife and kids, and then all of a sudden they show up to work one day and they take, I'm going to feel terrible. But how would that guy feel if I'm at work with him and the police show him pick me up on a DUI? A hit and run. I got drunk 2 weeks before that and drunk and slammed into a car. I'm sure that guy would say that sucks for him and his family, but that's the choice you made. At some point, we as a society have to say we cannot let our emotion at the individual level dictate the destruction of our country. It is selfish to do so. It is selfish to tell the future generation of your children that they must suffer because you didn't want to feel bad. That's selfishness. And so you have to be willing to say, look, you seem like a decent person. Some of you that are illegal, you got to go. You got to go. I'm sorry. Try to come back the right way. I don't know what else to say. And then Father Dwarf. Thanks so much for the $5. Says my mom was in hospice home health for a long time. She's the reason my family is tight knit and strong. You're a good man, Rob. Hell yeah, brother. Thank you, man. I appreciate it. Yeah, please. If there's one thing you could do, I think, to make you a good person, please, 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 if you have elderly people in your family, make sure you're visiting. It'd mean the world. It really will. And even if they pissed you off or something, just bite your lip, go visit. So you don't want to be in that position when you're older. By the way, it's another reason to get married and have kids. You don't want to be old and alone. And then Tinker Tide Pyres, again, $2. Thank you so much. Over Rumble says, you're man to look up to. Good on you, Rum. I don't know about that, but thank you. I appreciate the kind words. I do. It's, I don't know. I'm a shitty person. I am. Like, there's plenty of stuff about me. It's easier to talk about things that make me seem decent than things that make me seem shitty. But I'm a shitty person, too. But I do think that, like, elderly people, people with disabilities and stuff, like, you should try your best to just, I don't know. Particularly people in your family. Just, well, Upsetty Spaghetti, $5 says, I watched a Liberty Hangout video today, and she asked if illegals should be able to vote in our elections. What do you think happened? I wonder. Majority of them probably said, of course. Mechanical Mike, thank you for the $5. Really appreciate it. Really do. All right. What do we have to talk about next? No, that story. I forgot. I couldn't find this yesterday, but remember, if you watched Verbal Combat the other day, I had to talk to debate Avarice on what's better, Golden Corral or Waffle House, and he chose Waffle House. And part of my argument was, as a father, you should stay away from Waffle House because all the fights. After that debate, literally the next morning, I saw this clip. It goes on, so Waffle House. The employees, like, I swear it must be in their training manual. Like, dude, you're gonna have to throw knuckles. Don't hesitate. Get out there. It looked like that one guy still had like his training fucking apron on. They're like, come on, dude, get out there. Show them what you're made of. Good stuff. This is funny shit. So there, more evidence. GG, what's up? $5 says Tyler Oliveira posted a good H-1B scam video in Texas. Might be worth covering segments some other night. Yeah? I'll have to check it out. Yeah, the chair, that's the other thing. And those chairs they're light but sturdy enough to cause damage. It's like they specifically got chairs that they know would be good for their employees to whoop some ass with. Good stuff. Oh, I don't know. There's other stories to cover tonight. Eric Swallwell, there's story breaking that multiple women are going to accuse him of sexual harassment. That's a shame. So funny. I cannot get over, like, one of the things that's so frustrating in life, we'll just say in politics. That's true in life as well. But in politics, one of the things that's so frustrating is in real time knowing how your own goodwill is weaponized against you. So I could look and be like, yeah, you know what? I don't like the way this Epstein file shit was handled. I think it's fucking bullshit. Pam Bondi sucks. Glad to see her go. Fuck Trump for the shit he said about it. Ridiculous. But knowing that the same people, particularly on the left, that are like, see, do not give a shit about it. They're only pointing it to it for partisan reasons. They don't give a shit about Epstein. They don't give a shit about the victims. They didn't care the whole time Obama was in office. They didn't care the whole time Biden was in office. Many of the media people excoriated Trump supporters for saying, oh, it's all wild conspiracy theory. Now here they are. So when you saw, oh, Congress votes to release the Epstein files, and then it was like, okay, will Congress vote to release the sexual slush fund files? If you didn't know, there is a slush fund that if you're a member of Congress and you're accused of some sort of sexual impropriety, you can just go ahead and pay them off out of that fund, and it goes away. Now, whatever you think of Epstein, theoretically, that wasn't your tax dollars going to buy silence. But that is what happened with this congressional slush fund. So if you're entitled to see the Epstein files, which you should be, you should certainly be entitled to see where your tax dollars are directly going when it comes to bailing out Congress people accused of sexual misconduct. Now, here's the thing. It's not that all these people that are accused did it. Maybe they didn't. It's just easy. It's no skin off my back. It's not me paying for it. It's tax dollars. Doesn't mean they're guilty, nonetheless. Doesn't mean you're guilty if you're in the Epstein files. Congress didn't care. They still said, we don't give a shit, release them, okay? Why shouldn't that same principle hold to them in this slush fund? And then, of course, now we see it with Eric Swallwell. So Swallwell comes out when the DOJ is like, we're potentially going to release these files about Eric Swallwell banging this Chinese spy. And he's like, this is outrageous. This could harm people. It's an invasion of privacy. You were all for it when it came to the people in the Epstein files. All for it. Their privacy matters. But when it's for political expediency, sure. Yeah, release. So it's aggravating to me because I can't help. I say this all the time. It's our greatest strength and weakness. It's an absolute weakness to have a conscience and say, yeah, I don't like when my side does this. I'll call them out. I'll criticize them. The other side has no such limitations. It's all offense 24/7. Insurrections are bad until it's our side doing an insurrection, then clearly it's good. You get the picture. Lawfare against your opponent's good when it's their side doing it. As soon as Trump gets enough, it's the worst thing that could ever happen. But it's also our greatest strength because at the end of the day, if you sell out your principles, what are you really? So it begrudges, it pains me to say, multiple women accuse U.S. Representative Eric Swallwell of sexual harassment, including sleeping with interns and young staffers, using NDAs to silence them, manipulating them through direct messages. An attorney representing the women shared a video detailing their stories and secured pro bono legal help, emphasizing patterns of abuse that impacted their careers. The allegations have gained traction on social media. Does that mean Eric Swalwell's guilty? No. Nope. But You play with fire, sometimes you get burned. Swallwell was willing to smear Trump with any unproven accusation since 2016. Here's the consequence. Why should I lose sleep over protecting a known liar who intentionally smeared his political opponents? Now, one of the things I say a lot, and I don't know, I do know. No one takes it seriously, at least to the audience I'm talking to. If you're out there and you're listening and you're part of this like left-wing coalition, just know this. As soon as you become more of a liability than a useful tool, they're going to throw your ass under the bus. So the only thing that will save Eric Swalwell is if the Democrats think he's still more useful to them than he is a liability. The moment that changes, they'll be like, yeah, see ya. Ask Al Franken. See ya. Fuck off. And you can't help but look at the people that made these sorts of accusations and then find themselves the victim of these exact same type of accusations and say, that's a shame. I don't know what to tell you, dude. Hashtag believe all women, right? Oh, it's different. Yeah. Trump throwing his homies under the bus 24/7. Like who? Joe Kent, who threw him under the bus? Tucker Carlson, who threw him under the bus? Go ahead, who else? Windmill's here to tell us about Netanyahu and Israel again. Go ahead. Thanks so much, Windmill. We've had it with you for a while. Goodbye. It's much more pleasant without you around. The name-ems, they're only fun for a little while. We'll see it. Should have banned you yesterday when it was, you watch Judge Judy, she's woke. Suppose so. You're right. I guess I'm woke too, so I'll save you the trouble. So you can see the pattern that we've had from these people for years. It's still, when you're a member of the party, it's still beneficial to you. The rules don't apply to you until you're no longer useful. And then, you know. Let me check something real quick. I'd be checking something. Now, Andrew's supposed to start streaming around 10 o'clock, so I'll probably end by then. I don't think he's dropped out of the race yet, no. Windmill's just a special case. I don't mind people criticizing, but it's just the same name them. You know, Trump's the worst. Don't forget. Don't forget the Jews. Don't forget Trump's the worst. He told me yesterday my kid's going to grow up woke because he likes Mr. Beast chocolate bars and toys. Fuck you. Don't have the time of day for it. Well, let's see. How about a blast from the past? I talk about this a lot, this story. You guys know the Lincoln Project, Rick Wilson, and a bunch of these other, we're Republicans, but we don't like Trump. You know what I'm talking about? This is one of those clips that was like a throwaway clip that meant so much to me to illustrate exactly what the establishment really thinks of people like where I'm from, like rural America. And so this was a video I did in January 5th, 2019. I'd like to play it for you if I can, so you get to see a younger Rob here. Fatter. More hair, though. So a lot of times you hear people make this claim that, oh, a lot of times what people are criticizing in other people, they're actually projecting on themselves. And I definitely think that's true when it comes to a lot of the establishment elite type people and their claims of everyone being racist and bigoted. It seems to me like for a very long time that these people kind of have this seething dislike of people in flyover country, basically rural areas, rural white people in particular. And they think that they're scummy, they think that they're terrible people that are dumb, and I think that's a lot of what their perception is. And it's carefully hidden under a veneer, but sometimes you can start to see cracks in that veneer, like when we saw Hillary Clinton talk about deplorables that were Trump voters, and when we saw Peter Strzok, the FBI agent, saying he could smell Trump supporters in Walmart and things like that. So every once in a while you could see on places like the mainstream media where that veneer cracks and you start to see some of this bigotry come through. Here we have a so-called Republican strategist named Rick Wilson, who's really just an anti-Trumper that people like CNN like to come on so they could say, oh, see, Republicans don't like Trump either. And he's going to say some of the like vilest, bigoted things you could think about Trump supporters, calling them racist, making fun of their teeth, calling them 10-tooth because that's like a racial stereotype of rednecks, like they're all missing teeth. And it's really terrible. So it's not just what he's saying, though. It's what CNN, the panel's reaction to it is that I find most interesting. So let's start and hear the guy's comments to begin with.
So is she right, Rick, about the president's motives here? This wall is just to keep his base's attention off everything else?
Don, the wall has always been a con for Donald Trump's credulous, rube, 10-tooth base. The wall has always been a scam.
So see how he says, like, he wants to insult them. It's stupid. They're 10-tooth. Only a moron would believe in the wall. Like, that's not, it's one thing if you want to make fun of Trump and call him a racist or say that he's 10-tooth, make fun of his appearance. But once you start making fun of a group of supporters, that's an entirely different ballgame. You wouldn't, like, I'm not saying, and it happens often, like, we see this, like, you don't really see it the other way as much. I don't see a lot of Republican people in the media or Republican politicians coming out and saying all Democrat supporters and start making racial stereotypes about them. In fact, I think the media would go absolutely nuts if that happened. But let's leave this gentleman finish.
It has always been a lie. Nothing about the wall has ever been real, and Donald Trump knows it. He is a guy who has a long history in his career as being a con man. He is conning these people who believe he's going to build a 2,000-mile, 30-foot-high concrete wall with laser moats and alligators in it. It's
See, no one's suggesting that. He knows that's a straw man. If you were an objective journalist, you'd be like, no. That's not what they're suggesting. No one's suggesting laser moats with alligators. It's clearly hyperbole. People are suggesting a wall, and you might disagree with it, but that's not a reason to make it sound like anyone who would agree with it's an idiot or toothless or something like that.
Just crazy, it always has been. And yet they suspend their disbelief because they believe so strongly in Donald Trump. And this is, like I said, it's always been a con. It's always been a scam. It's an insult to their intelligence, but obviously it seems to work with his base because they believe it over and over again that nothing will stop the brown horde except the wall.
And there you have it. If you're a Trump supporter, you're a racist. If you support the wall, it's because you're a racist. You're afraid of brown people. You think they're a horde and they're coming to get you. Absolutely ridiculous. And you can see that this is the tool of someone who is a bigoted racist that would accuse others of bigoted racism. He's sitting there, he just uses like racial stereotypes saying that they're 10-toothed, how stupid they are, things like that. The 10-tooth thing, obviously a reference to how all these people in flyover country, you're a Trump supporter, you must be a toothless redneck. Like, it's okay. That racial stereotype's okay for him. And then he goes on to accuse those people of the very thing he's doing of racism. Now, as bad as that is, this guy's obviously totally, like, who cares? He's one person, right? Well, one, he's one person that's been giving a platform. But the important thing to me is you expect Don Lemon, who claims to be an objective journalist, and the rest of the people on the panel. The third person from the left, I forget her name, but she's actually a member of the White House press poll. So she's a journalist. She's not a pundit. You would expect him to be like, whoa. You just called everyone who supports this policy of a wall, or everyone who supports Donald Trump, as 10-tooth, as racist, as stupid. Like, that's a bridge too far. That's what you would expect objective people to say. So surely they'll be outraged by this, and they'll say, look, that type of behavior is not appropriate on CNN. You shouldn't be insulting entire swaths of people like that. Let's see what they have to say.
Yeah, well, and the whole Game of Thrones thing, the wall didn't work in Game of Thrones. Shouldn't he know that?
Walls with the impaling spikes. With the impaling spikes.
It's interesting because it's gone from a big concrete wall that Mexico was supposed to pay for with a big, beautiful door in it, to, I guess, fencing, to slats, to spikes on top, to whatever you want to call it. And the supporters will say, okay,
it's going to end with the...
Go
Don,
on.
it's going to end with being the freedom ditch.
All right.
Now, I want you to ask yourself a serious question. If a Republican strategist came on during the Obama years and was like, I want to talk about Obama supporters, and starts making racial stereotypes because he had a lot of African-American support, and started to make racial stereotypes that are insulting to black people. You think Don Lemon's yucking it up right now? You think all three of these panel are yucking it up? Of course not. Do you think the mainstream media would find that acceptable if they did yuck it up? Of course not. They would be appalled. Imagine that this occurred on Fox News during the Obama years. Someone comes on, Tucker Carlson or Hannity or on the 5 or whatever, and they're like, oh yeah, all Obama supporters, and start just boom blaring out stereotypes about African Americans. They're all stupid African American. They're just scared of whitey, and they're all toothless, or whatever stereotype that you would make. Like, and we know that I'm not going to sit here and make African American stereotypes, but we know that they exist. Just like it is we get it, old Rob or young Rob, however you want to phrase it. We get it. But if you ever hear me saying that's the opinion, that we're 10-tooth rubes trying to keep the brown horde out, that's Rick Wilson, Don Lemon. Nothing's changed. It's all the same bullshit. Walls don't work. Remember, walls don't work. Kamala Harris ran on, in part, building a wall. You think Don Lemon was out there like, but wait a minute, walls don't work. They didn't work in Game of Thrones. Did he say that? The gaslighting was unbelievable. Oh, it's outrageous to think a wall could work. Trump wouldn't be able to secure the border. Really? Amazing, isn't it? Another thing I wanted to talk about tonight. So I wanted to bring up the race thing. Did you see this? A more notable streamer than me. Well, I guess that's Photoshop, but Logan Paul, or is it Jake Paul? Jake Paul. Jake Paul claims that he's going to do a skit as Drewski and do blackface. And that was my idea. Drewski did the whiteface making fun of Erica Kirk because that's fun to do. So he does this video. And people were outraged. I'm not outraged. I think comedy's comedy. That's fine. I just said I wanted to dress up in blackface and do Drewski going to a Diddy party. Drewski, much like all the black actors, they got him in a dress, right? They did it. But that's all right. Drewski, Diddy's buddy. He's probably used to a dress, right? Old Diddy's friend Drewski. Be fun. Dress up, blackface, do a little Diddy's friend skit, right? Diddy send him off to get baby oil before he squeezes into his dress, right? That'd be great. Everybody yuck it up. It'd be fun, right? Problem is, Jake Paul ain't going to go that way. He'll just be like, oh, he'll do... No. If you're going to do it, go the full. All the way. Yeah, Jake Paul stole my idea. I challenge Jake Paul to a boxing match against Brian Shapiro. I think it's only right. Brian Shapiro, Jake Paul, in the ring. Both of them have besmirched me. Be good, right? Get him out there. They could do it. Who do you like in that matchup? Jake Paul, some serious boxing chops, right? He did lose his last fight, but I mean, he's beaten some serious people. I think that he was overinflated as a boxer, but still, I mean, no joke, right? He's got some power. So, on the other hand, Brian Shapiro would probably want to see his penis. So, I don't know. I don't know how that plays out in a Jake versus Brian match. I think I will say this. It would be an interesting weigh-in, you know? Jake Paul would be like, I'm going to humble this guy in the ring. You know, I'm going to beat his ass. And Brian Shapiro would be like, Jake, I'm a syndicated radio host. It's a little thing called respect, Jake. A little thing called respect. Show me your penis, Jake. It'd be an interesting, I don't know. I think it's the fight that the internet wants to see, if I'm honest. I think that really it's he's an intimidating figure, that Brian Shapiro. Brian used to box. I'm not surprised. I assume you have to be a champion boxer to become a syndicated radio host. Incidentally, while I'm talking about Brian Shapiro, I have to mention, now I think I've been pretty generous as far as Brian's claims about how big his audience is. I've been like, okay, maybe. He allegedly has some metrics that show him how many people listen to his radio show. Good for him. I am absolutely shocked by a guy. He has 45,000 X followers. There you see it. But then, like, when he talks shit on me or something, you see. Like, you get like here's like he'll get like 9 likes. Like he has posts that do a little better, but he's real big at calling people cucks and gay all the time. See, like here, like no likes. He's way bigger than me. I get 137. I don't know. I did. I saw Cool called in and confronted him about his homophobia. It's so weird. Like, in all seriousness, like he's got issues, but everything, like, I get it if you're like on the right and you want to make like call everyone gay and stuff, I get it. But like that's his whole thing. Gay, you're cuck, you're gay, you're a gay cuck. Like, dude, I don't know. He thinks he focuses a little much on that. I don't know. Just my opinion. My opinion. Does Kyle Kalinske do that as well? We got a half hour left in the show. What do you guys want to talk about? Sorry I went early today, but I think Andrew's planning on streaming this evening, so I figured I'd get in and out. Now, we're not doing so well on the donos tonight. Do I got to bring in the Dark Side Phil memes? I have to say, it continues to be weird. I know I talk about this from time to time, but I'll just say this tonight. You know, if we don't reach the dono goal, it's okay. It's no big deal. Never feel pressured to donate for real. Like, I know we do our little game with you got to donate money to hear the Whip Wheel song, but I did just do that debate last Thursday about, right, like, demanding money. And truth be told, it is an awkward thing. It really is. Oh, look at that, Cody. Thanks so much, man. It really is an awkward thing. I don't particularly like asking for money, even though I know that's kind of my job now. But never feel like obligated, like for real. It's all right. It's all right, man. Life goes on. My fat ass could go get another job if I ever need to. It won't be the end of the world. I got it pretty good. It's a pretty good life, man. And you guys really support me. So no hard feelings. I know sometimes people be like, hey, man, I wish I had some money to donate. It's all right. No sweat whatsoever, man. No. Hidakachi, no dolphins with lasers on Trump's wall. Balder Asregard, thank you for 50 somethings. Appreciate it. And then gives another 50 somethings. That's 100 somethings. And I appreciate it. Cody, thanks so much. $50. I know what those are. Thank you. Really appreciate it, man. It says, Tide from your local heathen. What's up, sir? Hoping my Christian friends had a fulfilling Easter. I was in the Idaho Panhandle Forest. Had to process and pull stumps off of a bunch of fallen trees around our cabin. That's fun. Pulling stumps. Also, that could be a euphemism that I'm unaware of, pulling stumps. Thank you so much, man. Really appreciate it. Baxter Boy, $5. Thank you. And Gavin Freenan, another 5. Anyone complaining about anyone asking you to pay for a service is limp-wristed? I agree. That guy meant well. I shouldn't have called him a moron that I debated there, but it is, I don't know. Anyways, I poured this shot a while ago and I'm milking it. What can we drink to? Oh man, I taught my son a good one yesterday. So we had we were picking seats in the car. And my son took my wife's seat. We were just driving like 2 minutes. And we were waiting for her, and she ended up talking to the place we were leaving. She was talking to her mom. And so we get in the car, and he goes, I'm going to take mom's seat. I was like, okay. I was like, when she gets in here, you tell her, you snooze, you lose. Oh, man. What a mistake. Now everybody's, you snooze, you lose. And my wife is unimpressed that I've taught him another. So there you go. My son's now a big fan of the phrase, you snooze, you lose. Nice. And I'm just so proud. I'm like, that's right. Tell her. That's right. I love my kid so much, man. Nothing like it. Nothing. He's amazing. Oh, man. So fun. Everything's fun with him. Everything. What's a famous Pennsylvania meal? Well, it depends on where you're at. Obviously, Philly cheesesteak. That'd be a famous Pennsylvania meal. You got towards Pittsburgh, there's a big Polish community, so pierogies are really big. And Pittsburgh's got a restaurant called Permani's. They're big on, they do sandwiches with like French fries and coleslaw on them. So that's like a Pennsylvania meal. And you got the Pennsylvania Dutch. So anything you think of like Amish or the Dutch community, Pennsylvania. But we're not really known for like barbecue or anything like that. Yeah, there's a pierogi, a restaurant that just serves like 100 different pierogies in Pittsburgh. I've never been there, but pierogies are great. Matt Christensen Media, you mentioned before, I still haven't seen. An authentic Philly cheesesteak, they use Cheese Whiz. I've always had them with provolone cheese, but I like a cheesesteak. You start to get out past State College on Interstate 80 and you start to run into more of the Philly culture. But here, more Pittsburgh centered. Ever been to Joe Biden Parkway in PA? It leads nowhere. I've not. I'm not surprised. I've been to Scranton, old Scranton Joe. Been there. Great place. Anyways, what are we drinking to? What am I going to take a drink to here? Anything funny? Maybe I'm just not that funny. Is it possible? Is that even a possibility that I'm just not that funny? I don't know. I didn't see anything from the Artemis. They sent a black guy to the dark side of the moon. All right, I'll drink to our astronauts. To the astronauts. It's amazing. Listen, I had people bitching about that this weekend. Why are we spending money on going to space? That's one thing I don't mind pissing money away on. The dynamic, adventurous human spirit. Fuck yeah, let's go to Mars. Why not? If we have millions of dollars for fucking every Somalian that wants a daycare, I think we could spend $1 billion or $2 billion to send someone to the fucking moon. Why not? Jay Dyer got 200K followers. No shit. I'll drink to that as well. To our astronauts and Jay Dyer getting 2K followers. Congratulations, Jay, if you ever see this. Honestly, an incredible achievement. Jay's a good guy. Never really had a chance to interact with him, but a good guy. Cheers. Oh, yeah. The Peanuts Coke thing. I didn't get that. I saw it was a big thing. Japanese X was saying, we didn't know that Americans put peanuts in Coke. What? Must be an inside joke. I've never done that. I just don't know. Jesse Marquez, $20 says Nacho. I like it. Little Nacho Libre there. Upsetty Spaghetti gives $5 to my super chat. Thank you. And then Caleb for $2 says, I'm poor, but appreciate everything you do. Not one step back. Thanks, man. Appreciate it. Shot cough L. Fuck you. But yes, it did happen. I did shot cough. Bleh. I was going to get into this big 60 Minutes piece. I'll save it maybe for tomorrow. There's a big 60 Minutes piece about California's high-speed rail that never came and all the money. Yeah, we have Scrapple here in PA, yeah. We got Ham Loaf. There's this guy, I don't know who Gar is, Gahr. But you'll see it in a lot of stores around here. It's like ham loaf that's packed up. Gar's ham loaf, pretty good. 2 no prep debates back to back. Yeah, we can do that. Yeah, there was an extravaganza today, me and Andrew. Match the dono for the Austin Hall. Yeah. Well, $100. Well, we haven't played the Austin Hall song in a while. We'll do a freebie. We'll play it. If I have it. I think I should. Austin Hall. Look at this guy. Can you believe what he said 2 days ago? Terrible. 357. That is outrageous. $357 a day is unreasonable. And allegedly, I just want to say allegedly, Austin Hall, big Don Lemon fan. Birdie the dog, member for 4 months, says Peanut Coke were fire at baseball games with Grandpa. Never heard of it at all, not once. It just came out of nowhere. People were like, peanuts and Coke. I was like, huh? All right, here is the Austin. Haven't heard this one in a while. The Austin Hall theme song.
Think I'll hit my goal. Damn, it's getting old. I'll be rolling in
you go. The Austin Hall song. It's been a while. Been a hot minute since we played that one. GC Mike. $10. Thanks. Says cheers, Rob. Hope all's well. And cheers. Calling out all the BS and telling out as much respect. Not one step back. Thank you, man. Really appreciate it. Old Joe for 10 says, here's the best entertainment on YouTube. I challenge Marcellery to match me. Oh, I don't know if she could do it, but thank you, old Joe. Kyle ran him out. Thanks for the $1 super sticker. And then Robert Whaley, $10 says, get wrecked, Austin. He knows. In a debate, how would I defend the position the USA was not founded by immigrants, but by settlers? That's what's important. Stay awesome. Well, yes, though it is tough. It hinges on how we define immigrants. The issue is that the immigrants of the day, even if you want to call them immigrants as opposed to settler, it was a different system. You had to come and make it on your own, which is what you're getting at with settlers. Like, we wouldn't just bring people in and say, oh, okay, free money, you don't have to do anything, you're a net burden. We'd have said, no, you don't get to come in. Also, the United States was ever expanding, and we needed people as a resource to continue to expand. No longer the case. And even if it was true, what's the relevancy to today? If that was true, if the principle that they're saying is true, well, if that was true in the 1700s, then it must be true today. Okay, so if we get another billion immigrants in the next 2 years, we still have to accept more immigrants because they used to work? No, clearly you'd say, well, there comes a point where it's too much. Exactly. That's the principle. It's too much now. Our salary, $10 says, I challenge the smartest man in chat to match me. Ooh. Tough. Caleb, thanks for the $2. Is there a Brian Shapiro song? No, we haven't done that yet. So the Artemis mission was a success? I didn't see. I'm looking here. I don't see. Well, good for them. I like that. I like that our astronauts kicking ass, baby. No problem, Urban Squatch. I think they got the toilet. The moon was cool. They got the toilet working, I think. Hell yeah. Heck yeah, they did. Got that toilet working. What are we going to do to fill out the rest? I don't want to leave you guys until the Crucible's coming on. I think they're supposed to come on at 10. You never know about Andrew, though. Of all the angles to cover this story, is Trump attacking free speech over the downed pilot story? Interesting. Well, I covered a lot of the story yesterday, and today he put a comment out. You go back and watch the beginning of the show, that he was going to jail the journalist that broke the story. By the way, I did not think Trump was attacking free speech, but we could do whip songs. Well, people have to pay for that. I demand money. Yeah, Brian did get really mad from that last. Short, didn't he? You are alienated. That's right. Did you ever have shit on a shingle? That's popular with my family. Chipped ham on toast. Send the illegal aliens to the moon base. Oh yeah. Yeah, Brian, he really gets fired up, doesn't he? Not very good at taking a joke. Did I ever have a Texas Roadhouse roll with cinnamon butter? I have. Yes. There we go. GC Mike, $10. I was trying to lose weight, so take my money from my McNugget fund. Ironically, I'm trying to lose weight. Now that goes into my McNugget fund. Thank you so much. There he is, the smartest man in chat. GC Mike, yeah. That's how it works. You know. Let's see. What fun clips do I have that I could play for you? Nope. I don't got anything. Mr. Prometheus, thank you so much. $10 says. Smartest man match. Hey, Rob. We're getting married next Saturday. We got engaged at Bacon. Of course, I remember you getting engaged. It was amazing. It was one of the highlights of the Bacon. And now you're getting married next Saturday. Absolutely phenomenal. Congratulations, man. It's amazing. Good for you. I hope your wedding is as fun as DebateCon was. And you have many, many years of marital bliss. My son is not a chicken McNugget fan. My son, he likes McDonald's, but he likes hamburger with pickles and ketchup. That's the only thing my son likes at McDonald's. Hamburger, pickles, ketchup. Excellent story, man. I'm glad you're getting married. Mm-hmm. Seeing if we're missing any news here tonight. Pirates flubbing more balls in the outfield. I see that. Well, folks, I did promise I'd stay till 10. I ran out of stories between the extravaganza and this. I have no idea where Loish is coming from, but it just says it's all fun and games until the penises come out. I suppose so. I suppose. I suppose that's the truth. Early stream today because I did the extravaganza, then Andrew was supposedly streaming at 10. So I figured instead of trying to start streaming at the exact same time as Andrew, I'd do an early stream. Tell us a hilarious story from college debate. The black woman judge had me rolling. Oh, okay. Let me see if I can find another funny college debate story. That guy I was telling you about that stole the ballot. He's very intense. And so he was on our JV team. So when we would be coaching him, he would only have two modes. He's super intense And he'd be like, hey, man, you got to relax a little. You can't just be screaming at people. And then if you told him that, he would just be like this the whole debate. They'd be like, oh, I guess they have a point on that argument, I guess. And so his partner was frustrated and would come to us and be like, look, he won't even try anymore. As soon as they make an argument back, he's just like, oh, okay. So we were like, hey, man, you got to up the intensity. What are you doing? You got to up the intensity. So we sent him off to a round, and they're coming back from the debate round, and his partner's like walking fast. And I was like, well, how'd it go? And his partner's like, well, he upped the intensity. And I was like, what happened? And this is now literally what I told him was, you got to bring up the intensity a little. This is what he chose to do. This is what upping the intensity was for him. During cross-ex, he just sat there calmly, writing notes on his paper while his opponent was talking. And finally, at the end of cross-ex, he just held up a picture of a very elaborate veiny penis. And no one knows why. That's how he interpreted upping the intensity. Suffice it to say, the judge was not impressed. Then he got in an argument with the judge, and the judge told him he may as well have had asshole written on his forehead. And they lost the round. So, there you go. That was a real story. He drew a veiny penis as an argument. Did not go over well. I would have never interpreted increase the intensity as, you know what you should do? But I guess that's me. I should have been more clear. There's a ton of weird shit like that, though. The college debate was... Oh, yeah, we had dudes like... I debated a round once where the team's entire argument, they were the first team to speak. They were supposed to be, like, arguing about, like, nuclear weapons or something, and they just simulated gay sex for 9 minutes. That happened. Did I ever have to debate when I was saddled with a weak partner? All the time. All the time. Till I got my last two partners, I never had a strong partner. It's one of the hardest things, because what you quickly learn is you're only as good as the weakest person in your team. You could bring them up, or you could, what most people did, what I did early in my debate career was I just tried to talk over my partner. I'd try to be, here, say this, say this, say this, say this. That's a mistake. You got to play to your partner's strengths if they're weaker than you. And so I learned that. But yeah, I definitely had some very weak partners. And sometimes they knew it. Other times they didn't. But tell us how excited I am to start going to the gym. Not very excited. I don't know. If my back wasn't hurting, I think I'd be more excited. But I don't know. We'll make the most of it. We certainly will. Ooh, I see something to raid over to. Now, I'm going to raid over to something good, right? Yeah, that's what I was going to raid to. But I am going to demand the remaining $142. So, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to give you all 5 minutes to get to the $142. Otherwise, nothing will change. No, I'm still going to raid over to Speakeasy. But I'll stick with you for 5 more minutes. How's that? How's that for demanding? If you don't give me this money, then nothing at all will change. How about that? Never considered that, did you? But we'll raid over to Speak. He's covering drama. The dramas. he gets to take a victory lap. He did have some I told you so's. I'm going to raid over to Speakeasy, and then I assume you guys will pay attention. Because right now, I would raid over to the Crucible, but I don't see his video up live yet. So I have nothing to raid to. Aren't you guys going to feel terrible knowing that we didn't reach the goal tonight? Yeah, thanks, Kate Thomas. Yeah, I'm gonna try to get a trainer and I'm trying. I mentioned a couple things last night about the drama between them. Honestly, with the lawsuit going on, it's probably best I say very little. It's not that I'm worried that I'll lose the lawsuit, but you see people make these mistakes when they're involved in some sort of lawsuit, and then they end up just not helping themselves by constantly chattering about it. So I don't feel I'm anywhere in danger of losing the lawsuit that's been levied at me by Sarah, but probably best to comment very little on their drama until that process is done. So when that process is done, I'll be more than happy to speak. But as for now, probably keep it to myself. I see you posted a recipe in general. Nice. Yeah, that's my thought too. Giverment. So it's been a good day. I know maybe this wasn't the best show ever. I know it was a slow news day. I covered most of the news on the extravaganza, but I still had fun. I hope you guys did as well. We'll be back tomorrow night, hopefully around 10. We'll see how it goes. I will be doing the extravaganza at 6 o'clock. So 6 p.m. tomorrow on the Crucible's Rumble channel. I'll be there. Then we should be doing this show again. I'll either do it immediately after the extravaganza. I'd like to do it at 10. That's my normal time. But Upsetty Spaghetti, thanks so much. $10 says I won't feel bad. Psych! But hey, it's all monopoly money in a progressive world. True. Just start a Smalley daycare. Then you'll have all the money in the world to send. That's right. Is Crucible live on Rumble only? Not to my knowledge. Maybe? I don't see them live yet, though. I gotta get a better picture on the Crucible, me flipping off the camera that Mystery uses. What are we doing here? No chance to extend the stream for $1 a minute. I appreciate it, but no, not tonight. You guys have been awesome with the donos lately. We'll let her roll. And besides, I think you guys will like what Speakeasy's talking about. I'm sure I'll be being mentioned over there. So, well, thank you so much to everyone who donated tonight. Thanks to Avarice. Thanks to my editor, Black Elk. Thank you to all my great mods. Oh, yeah, everything's fine with me. Yep, absolutely. I just planned on ending around 10. It's around 10, so. Should be a good show tomorrow. I'm looking forward to it. I also forgot today whether or not it was the day I did the show with Ryan Mullally or not. It must be next Monday. So, take a moment as we go over to Speakeasy here. You can have some laughs over there. Just take one moment to think about the life of Charlie Kirk and how they assassinated him, cheered it on, continue to attack his family and mock him in his death. And just say a prayer for him and never forget what the stakes are. So say a prayer for him and his family. I will see you all tomorrow. Thank you for everything. Enjoy the raid of Speakeasy. And as always, have a good one.
Only in America is it possible to say, you know what, I don't like the way the country is going, and to do something about it. Take that risk. Take that leap of faith. Stay involved. Trust God and act obediently. Romans 12:2 verse. That God will use all things for good for those who love him. It's bigger than you. I want you to remember that. It is bigger than you. It's bigger than me. You are here to make somebody else's life better, the pursuit of liberty and freedom. You know what gives me strength? The hundreds of thousands of you that say, Charlie, keep going.
1 Corinthians 5 and 15. So that's all pretty amazing evidence, not just intra-biblical evidence, but extra-biblical evidence that Jesus Christ was a real person. He lived a perfect life. He was crucified, died, and rose on the third day, and he is Lord and God of all.